Hey folks, we're the hosts of Comic Sans, the podcast about comics for those who are sans knowledge.
Comic Sans is a show for people who are new to comics, like me.
Or people who love them, like me. You can listen to our brand new third season or binge the first two right now.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to the realms of peril and glory. Explore the mechanically magical vistas of Vale, the paranormal mysteries of liminal London, and the cyberpunk chaos of Cyborg. You'll be immersed into unforgettable campaigns and heart-pounding one-shots. Search Realms of Peril and Glory to find out more.
Oh, hey everybody.
Oh, a little intro. You love a little intro. It means we've got something to tell you.
Something, dare I say, Spaten?
It is Spaten. It is very Spaten, Jenny. Before we tell you what our Spaten news is, obviously this has been a heavy week. Well, what week isn't heavy? But this has been especially heavy week here in the U.S. and in many other places, just by extension. And so we've said it on socials, we've said it on Patreon, but I think it's important to say here we are forever thankful to have this community. It is a time when being surrounded by folks who see you and who love you and who celebrate you, who can laugh with you, who can be there for you when you are not laughing is pretty critical. And, we're always thankful for it here, but very thankful today. And just a reminder that we fucking love you. And we're happy that we get to share in something together that we love, because that is important.
As the emotionally withholding dad of the pod, I'd like to take a moment to also echo Kristin here at a rare showing of feeling, a disclosure of emotion, and say, yes, that we care about you and that we're happy you're here with us and that we're happy you have each other. And good God, what a mess. But I'm so thankful that we all have one another in what is just like, how does it keep getting darker? Your thoughts, Kristin?
I don't know, but that's a question that Buffy herself, I think, asks as we journey through the series. So,
indeed.
We're gonna keep following that roadmap, and keep kind of looking to each other as time moves on. So, how about this?
But some excitement, some good news,
some good
for a
fucking news.
Change.
Yes, Jenny. You live really close to Boston, where a certain Slayer also resides, and we're going there. And we're going there in April, and we're going to do something very fun at a very fun place. So maybe you should fill in some of those blanks for the listeners at home.
When? April 29th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Where? The WBUR City Space in Boston, Massachusetts. Whoomst? Jenny and Kristin, hosts of your favorite podcast, Buffering the Vampire Slayer, once more with spoilers. We will be, what? Talking about our book? Taping a bit of a live episode? Sharing space and just generally being delighted to be near you? All of the above.
It's going to be really fun. It's the 29th of April is probably just a handful of days, if not just one day, before the premiere of season 2 of Once More with Spoilers. It's right before we come back with season 2. And so Jenny and I are going to be, I'm very, very excited. We're going to be talking about our most anticipated moments of season 2. And I don't even know how we're going to contain it because there's so many. You got Spike, you got Drew, you got Bad Eggs, you got fucking Buffy catching a sword between her paw. What isn't there in season 2 apart from our Spaten Slayer, of course?
Yeah. Well, she's marinating in the distance, in the margins.
Yeah, and I mean, Eliza lives in Boston, so girls can dream. Eliza, come on the pod.
Just bring your crossbow, pack up your crossbow and your compound bow and your great big knife and take an Uber across town and come hang out with us.
Before we say any more, I should probably let you know that everything that you need to know can be found at bufferingcast.com/slayers. This is a new little landing page where we'll be putting any events that are related to the book in any way, which honestly, probably the events for the foreseeable future will always dovetail in some way with Slayers, Every One of Us, the book that releases April 8th and tells the story of our first journey through Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And that is the second part of this event, is that we will be reading a couple of passages from the book. Really one of the first times that we'll be doing that, because it'll only have been out for about 3 weeks. And we will also be taking your questions and talking about what it was like to write the book. So it's going to be really fun. And WBUR is a really special space. Jenny and I have never been there before, but it's a really, really cool space. And Harvard Bookstore is going to be there with the books on hand. And I just think it's going to be delightful. And I'm very excited about it. Tickets go on pre-sale tomorrow, Thursday, January 23rd, for all of our patrons. Of course, y'all get first picks at tickets, and then tickets will be on sale for the public Friday, January 24th, both at 10 a.m. Okay, so head on over to bufferingcast.com/slayers. You can find all this information, plus all of those dates that I just said, ticketing links, and more.
I have a question for the authors.
Yeah, Jenny.
This question's actually for Kristin. Kristin, who was your favorite person to write this book with, and why was it Jenny Owen Youngs?
My favorite person to write this book was Jenny Owen Youngs, and it was because she would always come in and grab the remote for the fireplace at the first spot where we started writing the book, click the fireplace on, and read to me from a special book about writing books. Truly a delight in every way. Bookception. Jenny, who was your favorite person to write this book with, and why was it Kristin Nolene?
My favorite person to write this book with, I would have to say, was actually Frank, my dog.
Uh-huh.
He was there for me through thick and thin.
Wow.
Through the darkest moments.
Wow.
He is a great
When there was one
to me.
set of paw prints, Frank was carrying you.
But I also really enjoyed writing this book with my good friend Kristin Russo, because she has a great personal warmth and a skill with words.
I'm not even going to clarify that, because that's a story I plan on telling at every book event that we ever have. So if you want to hear more about my personal warmth and my skill with words, come on
down to WBUR City Space.
Yeah, come join us
on April 29th.
Bufferingcast.com/slayers. There's a whole bunch of different ticket tier options. The theater is on the Boston University campus, so there's student discounts. There's general admission. You can add the book to your thing. You can do VIP. We're going to have a poster for the show that we'll sign. Once again, tickets on pre-sale tomorrow, Thursday, January 23rd at 10 a.m. and on sale for everyone at 10 a.m. on Friday, January 24th. Come and see us if you were very, very sad because you couldn't fly across the country to join us at our book release event in Torrance. Well, hey, we're in Boston now, so maybe you can reach us there. All those events again.
Hang.
Bufferingcast.com/slayers. Now let's go talk about some fucking hyenas.
Indeed.
Xander's taken to teasing the less fortunate. Uh-huh. And there's a noticeable change in both clothing and demeanour.
Yes.
And, well, otherwise all his spare time spent lounging about with imbeciles.
It's bad, isn't it?
It's devastating. He's turned into a 16-year-old boy. Of course, you'll have to kill him.
Giles, I'm serious.
So am I. Except for the part about killing him. Testosterone is a great equalizer. It turns all men into morons. He will, however, get over it.
I cannot believe that you, of all people, are trying to scully me. There is something supernatural at work here. Get your books. Look stuff up.
Hello, and welcome back to Buffering the Vampire Slayer once more with spoilers, a podcast where we're watching and discussing each and every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer one at a time for the second time. This time with spoilers. You took a bath. That's okay. I'm Jenny Owen Youngs.
Hey, shoot me, stuff me, mount me.
Oh my God.
I'm Kristin Russo, and today We are discussing season 1, episode 6, The Pack, the Pack, the Pack, the Pack, the Pack, the Pack. It's just one time, but stay tuned at the end because we'll be talking about that very song.
Indeed. The Pack was written by Matt Keane and Joe Reinkmeyer.
It's no Ravenscroft.
I feel like it's Reinkmeyer, but Joe, if you're listening and I messed up, let us know. This episode was directed by Bruce Seth Green, no relation, and originally aired on April 7th, 1997. Meanwhile, our spoiler-free coverage of this episode originally aired on October 19th, 2016.
According to IMDb, this is the one where Xander and several other students are possessed by the spirit of a demonic breed of hyenas that wreak havoc at the high school.
Kristin.
Yes.
High school. You've heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a place where knowledge is stored and also distributed.
It's true.
Speaking of knowledge, into every generation, a spoiler warning is born. We, Kristin and Jenny, alone wield the strength and skill to discuss things from any of the following sources. All 7 seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and the canonical Dark Horse comics, and Angel the TV series, and any related canonical comics, and anything that currently exists inside of the Buffyverse, and anything that may be announced or released as we go.
We are so powerful.
Nothing can stop us.
Nothing.
No power in the verse.
Usually at the top of the episode, we talk to you about what we may or may not have been doing in 2016 when we recorded this coverage for the first time without spoilers. The note that I wanted to bring in here is this is apparently, thanks to our listener in 2016, Lucy, the episode where we decided we should probably talk about what the plot was of the episode before we started the podcast. Good job, Kristin and Jenny of the past, learning how to podcast in real time.
Wow.
Jenny, also, so if you're listening to the original airings, this is bufferingcast.com/nowandthen, just like the movie. You can go there and you can, if you're listening to it, you can leave notes in this shared Google document about some fun things that you may hear in the original coverage. And if they're fun enough, we'll talk about them. But something very fun for me is that episode 6 of our first run is where I began to take notes using a pen on paper, which I don't do anymore, in a very special notebook. Let's see, Stalogy, Staloggy, I think is the brand of this notebook. And after taking notes in the first one, I purchased many others so that I could have sort of this library of my notes. And I've got, I don't know, 4, 8, probably like 16 or so of them. And episode 6 was the very first episode where I took notes. So I actually have my notes from 2016. And this is what's incredible, Jenny, is that the paper in these notebooks, they're not quite 8.5 by 11. It probably says on here what they are, something like that. 179 by 252. Sure, whatever.
Totally.
There are 2.5 pages, and that I'm counting the front and the back as 2. So it's 1 page that has notes, and then like 3 bullets on the other page. And that is every note that I took to talk about this episode. I was like, what? Who was she? What was her life like?
Simpler times, Kristin. Simpler times.
This book contains episodes 6 through 20 in it. It's a tiny little book. At the top, there's like 6 episodes that are included in a full notebook, if that. So she got more verbose as time went on, everyone.
It can't be helped. Our episodes used to be 40 minutes long, too.
I know.
So
maybe you like, and you know what? If you need brevity, that's there for you too. You just go back and listen to the old ones. Good. In and out. Not here, though. Jenny, do you have any big thoughts on this episode?
I only have small thoughts.
Oh, only small. Okay.
You?
Yeah. Well, that LaToya does call you Little Jenny for a reason. So
I know.
No, I just, macro. I know this. That this show is obviously high school as hell, and all these metaphors for teenage life and what have you. This is just a really fun one in the season, I think, for talking about like pack mentality and how cliques form in school and what that does and how people get influenced by those things. And I was actually talking to someone who works with us, Zoe, who has two sons, one of whom is close in age to your son, Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking even at that age about how, like, you know, when Aldrich went to daycare, like all of a sudden he just sat down and started eating a snack because everybody else was eating a snack. Like that would never happen in his own home when someone asked him to sit down.
Mentality.
Yeah. Because Zoe had just seen her son in a like Christmas concert or holiday concert at school and was like, this child won't stand still for more than 3 seconds. And yet he walked in and he stood on the little line that was on the floor and he stood still and he just sang all his songs. And then and it's just like everyone else is doing it. So I guess I'm going to do it too. And obviously in high school, it's a whole different vibe. But I just, I think that it's a really fun, very Buffy, very, you know, sci-fi, fantasy, horror-esque way of talking about things that are real in a fantastical way. So, yeah. And I'm happy because this is not only the episode where I started taking notes, but the episode where I canonically know Buffy Summers, which we'll talk about
Right,
when we
of
get
course,
to the song.
yes.
So it's a big episode for me.
I do want to highlight something that is not my big thought, but that is something that LaToya let us know, which is that these two writers wrote one other episode of Buffy, and it was Inca Mummy Girl, another episode where the kids go on a field trip and chaos ensues. And I think it is so funny.
Yeah, and I think also an episode, and I think this is in LaToya's notes as well, an episode that like relies on this like tribal practice as the inroad to our sort of like core story. I know we get pan flute in this episode, and
pan flute intensifies.
And pan flute for sure intensifies when we get to Inca Mummy Girl in ways that are doubly, triply, maybe quadruply more problematic. So, all right, so yeah, we're on a field trip. Jenny, you know what? I know
when I.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
You know, when I go on a field trip, I'm always going to opt for my Scooby-Doo news anchor look. I'm wearing my velour trench coat.
I can't.
I'm wearing my neckerchief.
This French twist will not quit. She's either in a French twist or her hair is down in curls. Is the French twist a choice she's making with her hair so that she is maximizing her time, because when she undoes the French twist, her hair is curled very nicely for an outing at the Bronze later. You know what I mean? Like, is that why? Because I lived through the 90s, and I'm pretty sure you did too, Jenny. And I will tell you what, there were not a lot of French twists happening in the high school hallways.
No, I think she just came from a business meeting.
Often. Maybe there's more meetings with the Watchers Council than we know about in this season, and that's the vibe.
Yeah. Okay. This gaggle of 30-year-old mean teens. I've taken the liberty of naming them for our convenience.
I wrote their actual names down, so this will be fun.
Boo.
Yeah,
No,
I'm the boring host of the pod.
Yeah. What are their actual names?
Okay, well, the blonde guy is Tor. The brunette guy is Kyle. The blonde girl is Heidi. And the brunette girl is Rhonda. Well, you know, you have to have one blonde and one brunette in every
one brunette.
of each gender, of each of the two clear genders. Yes.
No. The brunette guy's name is Paul Rudd. The blonde guy's name is Final Destination. The brunette girl's name is Kathy from freshman year. And the blonde girl's name is the other girl.
Okay, hold on. I got to write this in my notes. Paul Rudd is the brunette, which is actually, did you already name him or did you get that from LaToya?
I already named. LaToya also pointed it out, but I have eyes. I did not need anyone to tell me that this man looks like a Xerox of Paul Rudd.
Okay, the blonde guy is
of
who?
Xeroxing. Final Destination.
Is he in Final Destination?
No, but when I think of when I look at his hair, all I can see is how Devon Sawa's hair is styled in Final Destination.
Man, you have
which is
been
just
really like
straight up.
Sawa-ified. You just can't.
I've never seen Final Destination. I didn't even remember that he was in Final Destination. I saw this guy's hair. I was like, Final Destination movie poster. I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's Devon Sawa. Whatever.
Wow. But you just like, you can't stop talking about Devon Sawa, you know?
Oh, it's not my fault that he all of a sudden is around.
The blonde girl is the other one, right?
Blonde girl is the other girl.
The other girl. I want to say, while we're on the topic of this little crew of mean kids, first of all, I fucking love them. Like, I just enjoy them so much. I feel sad that we will never get to interact with them again.
Yeah.
But I was watching this with Avanti, no surprises there, and we just watched, we didn't finish it, but we watched some of From, a newer series. And this Paul Rudd pops up on screen and she goes, oh, that's the husband from. And I was like, how in the holy fuck did you do? She did it in like a half a second. And even when I'm looking at his face, I still can barely make the connection. Ian Bailey is this actor's name. He's been in a bunch of stuff, but massive, massive role on From. He is like the husband of sort of like the main family that winds up in this town. So he's in like every episode. It's a big role, and he does great from what I saw. I think we watched the first 2 seasons or the first season and a half. I don't know. Anyway, Jenny, not to like get into an email too quick, but last episode, I think, was the episode where I said, everybody said, oh, it's not hell geography, it's hell maps. Okay. And as soon as we got to the zoo, I wrote in my notes, okay, so we've got Waverly Park, we've got a Sunnydale Zoo, we know we have the Bronze, the high school, Buffy's house. Is there anything else on our hell maps, what have you? And I got this email from our listener, Sarah, who's in St. Paul, Minnesota. And Sarah writes in, and I will try to read as much of it as possible because it's pretty fun. Sarah says, I have questions about the geography of Sunnydale. To explain, I was late to buffering, which meant I was listening to your original season 7 coverage when you started again with spoilers. So when I listened to Welcome to the Hellmouth, I was also listening to First Date, season 7, episode 14.
Oh my God.
As a result, I found myself thinking critically about the geography of Sunnydale. In season 1, episode 1, Cordelia, as we know, says that the Bronze is on the bad side of town, which is about a half a block from the good side of town. However, in season 7, episode 14, we learn in Wood's car that the restaurant where they went is a 10-minute drive from the high school. So Sarah has a lot of questions. Is this restaurant even in Sunnydale? Are there neighboring towns? How do they feel about their demon-infested neighbors? Then there's some hellmath. If the restaurant is indeed in Sunnydale, it takes 10 minutes to drive there on city streets with, let's say, a speed limit of 30 miles an hour, then hellmath tells us the restaurant was 5 miles from the school. This does not square with a city the size of a handful of blocks. So there's a lot more here. Okay. We know from the Welcome to Sunnydale sign, the population is about 38,000. Sarah's looking at similar populations. And even if Sunnydale were densely populated, 11 square miles is quite different from a few blocks. There's a lot of other questions here, and Sarah kind of ties it together by saying, what is going on here? Have any of your listeners or anyone else on the internet done the work of cataloging geographical references throughout the series and trying to make sense of them? I have neither the time nor the cartographical skills to take this on, but I would be really interested to see a map if somebody has already.
All right, map makers in the listenership. Email us.
I'm
hello
just
at
saying.
bufferingcast.com.
Right? Like, you know what? Run 1, Buffering the Vampire Slayer original flavor, all about hell math. What if we make, once more with spoilers, all about hell maps? What if together we really, really dig in and try to get the map of Sunnydale, or we find someone else who has already done it, which, probably exists. But thank you, Sarah. And Jenny, I'm going to request that you make us a Hell Maps jingle, because I know it'll take you about 5 minutes, and we can just pop it in when we get new information.
I can do this for you.
All right. Anyway, I'm sorry for such an early detour from our beat by beat here. But yes, the bullies, the quartet of bullies, the pack, starts bullying Buffy, which is kind of, I wrote in my notes, like, this is odd. I wonder, and before I got LaToya's notes, I wrote, I wonder why the writers chose to have these guys pick on Buffy, specifically given that, like, she seems to be making quite a great impact in the school. She's got guys hitting on her. She's made friends. She does not seem like an expected target. And usually we see Buffy, you know, like defending other people and like noticing the behavior of other people, not as the target herself. Jenny, I don't know if you want to share some of what LaToya told us about the original script of this episode.
Apparently Bobby, who is the kid at the Bronze that the pack picks on and Xander is sort of snickering along with them. Bobby was originally a big part of the script, and this is really interesting. Okay, here's what LaToya wrote. Bobby is all over the original script. He's even the one who picks up a scampering Herbert instead of Buffy. It's pretty much the biggest no-no when you're writing a spec script for a television show, or even when you're being paid to write a script for a television show. Don't make the episode all about a one-off guest star. The name Lance is in the script 42 times. Bobby? 84. Keep in mind, series regular Giles is only in the script 84 times. Buffy, Xander, and Willow have 100 or so more mentions throughout, but that makes sense, not the amount of Bobby there was. This tells me that Joss then went and did an almost full rewrite to balance things out.
Yeah. And so that like completely clicked with what I was wondering, because I thought, why didn't they just have this about Lance? You know, like, why didn't they just make it about Lance? And probably what they had done was made it about Bobby and Lance. And then in taking out the Bobby, it was like, well, who do we sub in? And it just made sense at that point to just have them pick on Buffy to open the episode. But a really cool, like, behind the scenes intel. And also it just happened to answer my question. Great.
They have the opportunity to pick on Buffy because she's alone, because she was off looking at the fishes all by herself.
She's got a lot on her mind, Jenny. Sometimes you just need to look at the fishes, you know? Willow and Xander were over watching the zebras fuck, so there's that.
None of my business.
Also, there's something really funny about the fact that they're both in full stripes, which like is just default 90s. Like the odds of everyone being in stripes is high, but still, I love that they're both in stripes and they were watching the zebras fuck.
Buffy, this I definitely remember talking about 8 years ago. We did the same zoo trip every year at my old school. These high school students going to the zoo ? Every year. Why?
Yeah, we never went to the zoo in high school. That was like an elementary school trip.
I mean, listen, I'll go to the zoo now and I'm an adult, but
not infantilizing zoos at all. I'm just saying, like, that was not where we were going in high school. It's not the vibe. So Lance is over by the monkeys and
sketching them.
He's sketching them? I didn't know that. I thought he was taking
he's got a little sketch pad.
Oh, that's lovely. We also never see Lance again. It's you know, and I liked all these.
Bye, Lance.
I liked all these characters. Lance giving a real, I can't remember the character's name in Grease, but the like nerd guy in Grease, just like giving those vibes hardcore. And he's over there. They pick on him. They're making like these, they're so dramatic. That's why I love the quartet of the pack. They're just so dramatic. Did your mom pick out your lice or did you grow out of that? I'm like, what are these insane bullying insults? They're just so ridiculous. Principal Flutie, who we will bid adieu to this episode.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Like big time R.I.P. I really love this guy. And he really like this episode in particular is just a very endearing, which is on purpose, of course, endearing episode for Principal Flutie. But he steps in and Lance, of course, denies that anything bad was happening. He doesn't want to get the shit kicked out of him. So Flutie is deterred.
The pack is thrilled that Lance covers for them when Flutie's like, what's going on here? So they're like, upgrade, we're going to take you to the hyena house. This zoo deploys exclusively the Jurassic Park font everywhere.
Yeah.
It's the most wildlifey of all fonts, as everyone knows. And Xander, Buffy, and Willow observe this, and Xander's like, I got this. I'm going to go in and make sure nothing wonky is going on. I love the zoo's deterrent for the closed off-limits exhibit. One single strip of police tape across the entrance.
Yeah.
It would certainly keep me out.
Oh, we meet our zookeeper, whose first line, I think, is, "Are you blind or just illiterate?" What a guy.
Wow. Yeah, I'm expecting great things from him.
Yeah. Definitely we should trust him later on, 100% with that first line. So he explains that the hyenas are in quarantine. They just got here, and you should keep out even if they call your name. He said that some of the Maasai people who, this is where these hyenas came from in Africa, told him that the hyenas can learn your name, and then they call out to you. And once they separate you from the pack, they devour you. Bum, bum, bum.
I have questions about when this man huddled up with some Maasai tribesmen.
So do I.
Did they broker the hyena deal, or did he take a trip a long time ago?
Or did he actually never have this conversation and read it in a book, as the same book where he learned to do his face painting?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, just whatever. But like once they separate, like this idea that like once the hyena separates you from your pack, they will devour you, as applied to what we'll see from Xander and like what they're trying to tell us about like high school and other social relationships. Like once you are separated from like your core group, this other group can devour you, can sort of like make you one of them. Etc. All right. Oh my God, this hyena.
Party City hyena ran so that Party City werewolves could walk.
It's true.
Actually,
it's true.
Later in the series.
It's true.
These hyenas are out of control.
Out of control. They're sort of, now I really appreciate the wolf in Neverending Story. Like I think like,
oh yeah,
that's like this done well. And I think probably the biggest reason it's done well in Neverending Story has a lot more to do with lighting and like just other directorial choices.
Gamork? Are you referring to Gamork?
I'm referring to Gamork. This guy has just like full lighting as though it's just a cast member. Just like
there's at the dump in my town. They have some coyote statuary or something.
Okay.
They have like coyote statues to like keep away, I guess, other creatures. And let me tell you, the $20 coyote statues are about 100 times more convincing than this hyena. It doesn't help that hyenas, no offense to the hyenas in our listenership, but hyenas are weird looking.
I can't believe you're about to fucking turn our hyena listenership on us after you just saw this episode. You're aware of what can happen.
I'm scared of what, as long as we stick together, Kristin, I don't have to run faster than the hyenas. I just have to run faster than you.
Aww. That'll cut deep for those of you who know our bear story. So our quartet of mean kids go to throw Lance in, or pretend to throw Lance in. No matter
a predatory act.
I know. I'm like, we know probably they weren't actually going to throw Lance in, but the predatory act, even later when the zookeeper does his predatory act, I'm like, so you don't actually need to do anything. You just need to like think about doing something predatory, and then this works. But Xander fucking busts in, and he like pulls. What are you doing? Jenny just became like at a campfire ready to tell a ghost story in Zoom. What did you just pull?
Well, I'm just burning this candle, and then I decided to hold it up under my chin to weird you out. It's my predatory act.
So Xander defends Lance, gets him away from the group, says right to Paul Rudd, why don't you pick on someone your own species? And I love this. Good job, Xander. We just have a moment for Xander, because I'm reeling from how attractive and suave I have found Angel in the first few episodes. Like reeling.
Yeah.
I did not remember. Was not prepared. But I'm also like, what a fucking babe. Like Xander is just, I definitely had in my 2016 notes. So is Xander evil just a better Xander? Like, is that what we're seeing here? And maybe the answer is yes. But
yeah,
he just
this
looks
is definitely Xander at his hottest, which feels rude to the character, but what are you going to do?
He's just looking good.
I mean,
and he's behaving good. Like he's doing things that I feel
Oh,
like.
you mean like right now?
Right
now when he defends. I think he's actually hotter when he's mean.
No, me too.
But is he hotter than when he's mean when he's wearing a Speedo next season?
I will have to decide then, I guess.
Is he hotter in his fantasy when he's wearing all black and like ripping a solo on a BC rich warlock?
I think he's just doing a good job being attractive physically, and also he's not later in the episode, of course, but he's possessed by a hyena. But like he's showing up, and LaToya had some notes here. Maybe I'll be better spoken if I just look at LaToya's notes, but he's just like showing up in ways that are good, and he shows up in ways that aren't as well. But I don't know. I just think like I was so much more focused on the shitty ways that Xander showed up that I'm really trying to take a minute with some of the things that he does where I'm like, look at him go. Like he just like went the fuck in there and broke this up, and that fucking rocks.
I actually want to read what LaToya dropped in the notes about Xander because I think it's worth meditating upon.
Yeah, please.
She writes, for often being presented as a coward and, as, quote, less than a man, end quote, Xander has absolutely no problem stepping up to help out Lance. He's also clearly the actual alpha of the pack as the one who steps up to Kyle. As mentioned in Teacher's Pet, we talk a lot of trash about Xander, much well-deserved. But I think the character would have aged and developed better had the show not always leaned into the character's negative impulses and less flattering aspects, and instead highlighted more of where Xander actually was competent. That way, in moments when they had to talk about him being the heart of the group and the one that sees everything, it wouldn't feel like just throwing him a bone as an otherwise ineffectual doof. This is also why Season 5 Xander is the best Xander, because post The Replacement, the show actually finally does that. It's a characterization that only lasts a season, but it's great. And this like just rang so many bells for me because like in the moments when Xander gets to be effectual, gets to make his own moves and like does good and is competent, we love to see it. And honestly, I don't know. I feel like they do kind of just lean more and more and more into we start in this season with the friend zone Xander thing, and it just like kind of continues to roll downhill from there with limited exceptions like Go Fish. All I can remember is his Speedo, but I'm just assuming that he's very helpful in that episode, and his once in a while big hero moments like at the end of season 6 and stuff. But those would pack so much more of a wallop, right? If they felt a little more earned and a little just like, he's such a regular guy that he stopped the end of the world with love.
Yeah, and, we're not going to be able to get to the bottom of this necessarily, and I don't know if it's a question worth more than simply posing and throwing out into the ether, but, since we know that, like, in many ways, Xander was the proxy for Joss, or the sort of like extension of Joss, and we know plenty about Joss and Joss's own issues and problems and what have you. It's like there's part of me that's sort of wondering, like, some of the repetition of the nice guy shit that really makes us like that really makes Xander hard to swallow and hard to like accept as a character that has all these good qualities. Does that come as like Joss's projection? Do we see more in the Joss written episodes those elements of Xander, and when he is put in the hands of some of the other writers, is he given some of the depth and the lovability that we wish that Xander had a bit more of? And I don't know the answer, and I may never know it, but now you can think about it at home. All right, so the hyenas possess everybody. Xander's in there, and so he gets the hyena spirit as well. The only one who's not possessed is Lance, who sort of scrambles, falls down, and runs away. And the green eyes are incredible. I was not a big Animorphs person. I missed that by a few years, but Avanti immediately said, "Oh my God, are they Animorphs?" Because this is exactly the glowing green eyes of an Animorph.
Yeah, I'm Animorph ignorant.
Yeah, I bet you Jess would know all about fucking Animorphs.
1,000%. And you don't have to be Animorph literate to have these glowing eyes live in your soul.
Yes, exactly. Past the credits, we arrive at the Bronze, where I am so excited to pay attention to what the fuck gets eaten at the Bronze this time around, because we've already had a corn muffin, and this time Willow's eating a box of fucking raisins and Buffy's eating a croissant. Just fascinating. Fascinating choices all around. What is the Bronze, you know?
Of raisins?
A box of raisins.
I had no idea.
So Xander is late, and it gives Buffy and Willow some girl time to talk about Willow's obvious crush on Xander, who she says, he makes my head go tingly. And Buffy's like, yeah, I don't feel like that about anybody. Willow's like, really? What about that guy that's like always standing in doorways and like giving you his leather jackets and shit? Buffy says, he's a honey. He's a honey. Jenny, does that embarrass you as much as cheerleading in large groups?
They're different feelings. I think this is objectively worse.
Okay.
But it's not as personal.
Okay, noted.
To me. You know when you like a boy and you're like, he's attractive and he loaned me his leather jacket, which magically shrank to fit my tiny form. And you're like, could this be something? But then every time he's around, all he wants to do is talk about vampires.
Yeah, I do.
He's just not that into you.
No, I mean, I think the problem is you may just fall in love with him despite all of that.
When Xander enters the Bronze, there aren't podcast appropriate words for the way that he looks at this girl.
She's into it.
And the way that she looks back at him.
Yeah.
This should be blurred out for broadcast. Inappropriate.
They do. The director, this is Bruce Seth Green, right? He does a great fucking job in these moments where like we get the hyena possessed teens entering spaces. Later when we get the group of them, I am like dying. I'm so happy. My 90s soul is just like restored by the slow-mo. But this is great with Xander when he walks in too. He goes immediately up to Willow and Buffy and is like, girls. And Buffy very appropriately is like, boy? Like, what the fuck is this? Who the fuck are you? What is happening? He eats her food. He drinks her soda. Oh.
He sniffs her hair.
Sniffs her hair. That's where your little intro line came from, Jenny.
He notes the recency of her bathing.
Forgives her for it. He forgives her for bathing. Willow immediately, is something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Willow, babe, no.
Is this the first episode where Willow's really been in like this kind of danger in the way that we are used to seeing her in danger, like endangered in the rest of the series, where it's being deployed against us specifically to hurt us?
Yeah. I mean, this is like, this is really the first moment where we talk openly about her feelings for Xander. It's been like, you know, kind of obvious, but hasn't been like directly said. She's like vulnerable in a way that we haven't seen her before. And this is also definitely the first episode where we're going to see her cry and we're going to realize, oh no, as Willow goes, so goes our nation. She cries, we cry. That's just it. She's a powerhouse for this television series in that way.
Yeah.
So we got the nerd jokes with Lance, Bobby, who's been, what a downgrade for poor Bobby. I can't believe he was in the episode so much, but we get this one beat with Bobby, which is just complete like fat shaming, blimp jokes. Like, you know, nobody's trying to be creative here in the hyena pack. They're just low bar in it.
Where is the lowest hanging fruit? I like Bobby's vibe a lot. I wish that we got to see Bobby again.
Yeah, me too. I wish we got to see any of these kids again. Oh my God. First training session in the library. Welcome. Fucking nobody ever goes to the library. Owen, first and last student to ever use it. It is now simply a place where the librarian can be wearing padding and Buffy can just be pummeling him during her training sessions as the Slayer.
Dude, I just, even if nobody usually is there, isn't there like a back area. You're just in the middle of the fucking library, right in front of the main entrance with these pads on and a student kicking the crap out of you.
It just seems like the Watchers Council, like, we know they're never going to pay Buffy, but it feels like they would have at least invested in a training room for her, you know?
No.
Regardless.
Giles is like moments away from expiring. He's barely hanging on.
He's winded. Oh my God, it's the Herbert cam, one of my favorites. POV, tiny pig running through the hallways of Sunnydale High School. Buffy, not Bobby, is the one to pick Herbert up, and he's wearing, I'm so sorry for this little pig, because you know what, like, I don't like that he perishes. He is so cute, but he also deserved better than a life in a cage wearing a Razorback costume. So, and
Yes.
this is great shit from Ken Lerner as Flutie. You know, he's not cute. He's a fierce Razorback. Look at him. Like, he's just so
Oh my God.
cheesy. And like, he's just like the archetype of this like cheesy principal guy who's like, he's just nailing it. And I think it's great. And I do wish that we got more of him, as much as I'm excited for Snyder.
Yeah, he's just so delightful. I want to talk about his next scene, but just very briefly want to mention Xander trying to be like Willow trying to tutor Xander in geometry, and either Xander's bad at math or hyenas are bad at math. I'm thinking hyenas might be bad at math because it seems like he's gotten worse and he's so grumpy and he's so short and he throws his book in the trash. Willow has the patience of a saint, but Xander storms off in a huff.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Flutie, Principal Flutie, talking about school spirit and doing his like when I was your age monologue is just like the best, especially when he lands on, but when I was your age, there were a bunch of old guys hanging around talking about how much better things were when they were my age.
It's so good. And, you know, like, thinking about Snyder, who's, not far from arriving, when we talked to Armin Shimmerman back in 2016, he told us that he had auditioned for Flutie as well. And he was friends with Ken Lerner, and Ken Lerner got the part. And, this would not have been the vibe at all if Armin Shimmerman had gotten Flutie. And I think it's just, we're very lucky that we got Ken Lerner in this part, because the contrast of how Snyder is with the kids is just night and
so
day.
great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Xander walks in, and very similarly, this is the exact same setup as Fork Vampire meets Praying Mantis. This is Pig meets Hyena Xander. The pig is like, fuck that. No, thank you. And Buffy's like, There's a B-roll shot that I don't think we'll ever get again in our lives, Jenny. It's like the landscape of Sunnydale with a lightning bolt.
Oh, yeah. And it's sped. It's hard to tell, but it's like sped up, I think, because you can see cars, teeny tiny cars driving on a highway.
It's so funny. Like, whoever decided to put this B-roll shot in also like had some hand in the transitions for Angel season 1. It's like a very like
Yeah. I've been watching Psych, which is a show that takes place in Santa Barbara.
Oh.
So all of the B-roll stuff is Santa Barbara, and it's like more specifically, obviously, intentionally Santa Barbara-ian.
Yeah.
But it is also a little bit like, oh, look, it's Sunnydale.
It's Sunnydale, yeah. Oh my God. Time for gym and my favorite gym teacher.
Okay. This is a different gym.
Oh.
Gymnasium than where the cheerleaders tried out and where the basketball team played basketball.
Wow.
I'm 99% sure.
Detective Jenny. I wonder if one of them, we've been in the Sunnydale, we've been in the Torrance gym. And so I wonder if maybe they used that for the first couple and then maybe went elsewhere.
Maybe switched or something.
Yeah. Dodgeball, man. If you were going to try to illustrate like the cruelty of being in high school, dodgeball is a great choice. The game where your entire mission is just to slam other people.
I love that the gym teacher's like, it's raining, so all other activities have been canceled, so we're going to play dodgeball. And I'm like, great, what are you going to do for the rest of the remaining 55 minutes of class?
Yeah. Somehow I feel like one game of dodgeball was like all you needed to get through gym. Like everybody takes so fucking long to get their gym clothes on. And it's just like...
Right.
The idea of gym class in the middle of a day astounds me still. Like the fact that you're like, I'm at school and I'm dressed and like ready to have a day, but then you have to like stop and then change and get super sweaty and then change back into your regular clothes and then just like go back to class.
But also, now that I have a child, I really appreciate how long a day is. You know? So why not have a, take a 50-minute period for them to change their clothes, go do a sporty thing, change their clothes again. That sounds like a great way to eat up some time and also burn some energy.
God, you're making me recall sitting with my good friends and their young child, and it's like the kid's bedtime is like 7 or whatever, and at like 6:15 it would be like, so how much longer we got? You think they want to go to bed at 6:30 or how can we simply put an end to this particular day any sooner than now? Okay, so Xander slams Willow in the game of dodgeball. Hate it. Yeah, big time. She's so fucking small. I just don't think that I really realized how small Allison Hannigan had the potential to be. She's so tiny in this season.
She's a wee lass.
Buffy is the last standing on her team, but they decide to turn on fucking Lance, who's on their team. What the fuck, you guys?
Honestly, how's Lance even still in the game you know what I mean?
He was probably just like hiding behind the gym teacher the whole time. Did we talk about the fact that Lance goes down and Buffy helps him up? That's what happens. And the gym coach is thrilled. God, this game is brutal. I love it. Listen, I know I'm not supposed to like this man, but just let me have one whiskey with him. You know what I mean? Let me just find out what his life is about.
You know what it's doing for me is just making me be like, remember gym teachers?
Yeah. I like literally had the stereotype lesbian gym teacher in high school. Like the
Same.
Cookie cutter. If you had cast it on television, you'd be like, come on, guys. Like, we already had Jane Lynch once. Not every gym teacher is like this. And like literally that was just my gym teacher. Outside of the lockers, we're about to all get absolutely shredded because Xander is going to tear Willow apart, and I hate it and it breaks my heart. Let's hear it because that'll be fun.
Yay.
I guess you've noticed that I've been different around you lately.
Yes.
I think it's because my feelings for you have been changing. And, well, we've been friends for such a long time that I feel like I need to tell you something. I've decided to drop geometry. So I won't be needing your math help anymore, which means I won't have to look at your pasty face again.
Ugh.
This is horrible. Horrible.
I don't care for this at all.
Buffy, I do like Buffy. Like, Willow's gone. She's not even there. And Buffy is like, you going to say something to me? Nick Brendan giving us an incredible fucking hyena laugh here. Great performance. And then all of the other hyenas cackling behind him. Time to sniff out some fucking hot dogs, Jenny. This is honestly relatable content. I could sniff out a fucking hot dog right now. I'll tell you what.
Really?
Yeah. Did you know pregnant women aren't allowed to eat hot dogs? What is that about? Why the fuck can't I have a hot dog?
I mean, maybe it's just because doctors care about you. I don't know.
But hot dogs are so good. I eat the healthy kind.
I'm not here I love glizzies. This is a pro glizzy podcast.
Yeah.
Of course.
Anyway, they sniff out the hot dogs and oh my God, Jenny, it's your friend and mine, Stephen Smith.
Oh my God. Hi, Stephen.
The hot dogs are far too cooked for these hyenas, so they step
hot dogs are frigging pre-cooked and then cooked.
Yeah, exactly. They step all over the lunch on this table and make their way.
This is very Paul Rudd in Wet Hot American Summer.
Okay. Whenever I see somebody
Paul Rudd gets up to here.
Whenever I see somebody walk across a table and step in food, I only think of the musical Hair, the movie musical Hair, and in the show-stopping number Hair. Is when the character Burger walks through this dinner party and just stomps on everyone's plates, swinging from chandeliers before Sia was even born. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's a great movie musical. Anyway, We go to Herbert's cage. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. They eat Herbert.
Not let's do lunch. Not later Buffy telling the hyenas, didn't your mother ever tell you don't play with your food? Who's responsible?
Yeah. However, eating Herbert, in my opinion, eating Herbert is what gives me my favorite slow-mo entrance to date on the show, and maybe my favorite slow-mo entrance ever? I don't know. All 5 of them, because Xander did eat the pig. All 5 of them to a song called Job's Eyes by the band Far are like walking up the steps, coolest kids in town. This is like, you know how we got like the Xantasy of like him saving Buffy and like that's what he was fantasizing, and you were talking about like saving girls on horseback. This is just my fantasy. Like I just want like
you just want to walk around in slow-mo.
I want to walk around in slow-mo. I want there to be like a soundtrack that's playing behind me, and I just want everybody to like look upon me as I look this cool. That is my dream. And I'm 44 now, so I don't think it's going to happen for me. I think I've passed the age where a slow-mo walk in this style is going to happen for me, but it's my dream.
I think it could still happen, Kristin. Maybe it could happen at prom.
Perfect. Yeah, can we plan that? Just get me a fan and I'll walk really slow.
Yeah, this music placement is so great. It's so like creepy and weird and raw.
Yeah.
And apparently Xander has supersonic hyena hearing because he's standing down on the ground. And he can hear Buffy and Willow talking about him up on the balcony.
And this is great. This, I think, ties into LaToya's conversation an episode or 2 ago where it's like, you know, you have these Monster of the Week episodes, but you get these character beats in that you might not otherwise be able to get in these nuanced, small ways. We get from this exchange where Willow's crying because she's so upset. She says maybe 3 isn't company anymore. And so we get like this insight into the fact that Willow like clearly loves Buffy and like they're all friends, but there's also an insecurity because Xander clearly has a crush on Buffy and Buffy wasn't here before. And how is that changing their dynamic? And, you know, it's done well.
A new year means new opportunities. And if you've been thinking about starting your own business, let this be your sign to take the leap. Of course, this decision comes with a lot of questions, like, how do I get started? How do I come up with a brand? How do I sell stuff to people? What am I even going to sell? Well, if you have all those questions, you can take a deep breath, because Shopify's got you. Shopify makes it simple to create your brand, open for business, and get your first sale. With Shopify, you can get your store up and running easily with thousands of customizable templates. No coding or design skills required. All you need to do is drag and drop. Their powerful social media tools let you connect all your channels and create shoppable posts to help you sell everywhere people scroll. And Shopify makes it easy to manage all the details, like shipping, taxes, and payments from one single dashboard, allowing you to focus on the important stuff, like growing your business. The best time to start your business is right now, and with Shopify, your first sale is closer than you think. Established in 2025 has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to start selling with Shopify today. Shopify.com/realm.
Flex your business with an American Express Business Gold Card. You'll earn 4 times membership rewards points on your top 2 eligible spending categories, like transit and electronics, each month, on up to $150K in combined purchases per year. Plus, you can now earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Terms and points cap apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold, built for business by American Express.
Welcome to the ultimate social deduction game, Blood on the Clock Tower.
The evil team must stalk the streets at night, hunting down members of the good team one by one. Meanwhile, the good team must outmaneuver the evil team using their unique abilities.
I'd like to kick things off by telling you all that I'm possibly the demon.
Our players can mislead and manipulate others with absolute freedom.
I didn't like hearing my name in the same sentence as demon. That was very upsetting for me.
Emily and I will be your storytellers, guiding you through every labyrinthian twist and turn.
How are there so many evil players in this game? happening? What's happening?
With guests from No Rolls Barred, the Pandemonium Institute, and Ox Venture, you won't be able to stop listening. Go to realmspod.com/clocktower to find out more.
Ladies, if he's sniffing you, cackling at inappropriate moments, and eating the school mascot, that's not your man. That's a hyena.
Jenny, this might be like, this is the opposite of taking one page of notes. I know, but Buffy calls the pack the Dode Patrol. And I was like, what the fuck is the Dode Patrol? And I didn't.
What indeed.
I didn't find like a definitive answer, but when you Google it, Buffy comes up. It's not like, oh yeah, this is what the Dode Patrol is. But the only answer that I found, or the only like hypothesis I found, was that it's a play on words from Dome Patrol, which was a nickname for the, quote, fast-moving, hard-hitting New Orleans Saints linebacking core made up of Riley Jackson, Vaughn Johnson, Sam Mills, and Pat Swilling in the late 80s and early 90s. They were called the Dome Patrol. That's like a bit of a stretch for me, but if you know what Dode Patrol is, you let us know.
Yeah, this feels very, you've never watched Gilmore Girls, right?
No, and I thought you were going to say you've never seen football before, and I was about to kill you. No,
Gilmore Girls, a show I enjoy watching, full of people I want to smack upside the head, is just like wall to wall, inexplicable, sort of obtuse and opaque references to this and that. It's just like nonstop references to a variety of stuff that like a variety of stuff so broad and niche.
Yeah.
Different, in like a collection of niches.
Yeah.
That it just the mind reels, and it really, really, really stretches my ability to suspend my disbelief.
Yeah, the writer's room.
This feels
it's like
that.
The moment when like the magic eye starts to settle and you actually see the writer's room. You're like,
yeah. It's like you know how like Charles Dickens got paid by the word, or Edgar Allan Poe got paid by the word. It's like the writers of Gilmore Girls get paid by the syllable and the reference. So they're like just cramming as many, just like, oh, what's the highest density of reference per square inch of this episode that we can achieve?
Okay, so we go to the library. This is where this is the sound clip we started with. Jenny and I have been really in sync lately with our sound clips. We pull them separately.
It's pretty wild.
And then
it's like we're in two hyenas in the same pack.
Seriously. And then they're just all the same sound clips. I wanted this as
I, of course, am the best hyena, and Kristin
I'm the good,
is a good
hyena. Yes, indeed. I pulled this as the opening clip for two reasons. One, it just felt like the vibe. This is where Giles is saying, oh, he's just turned into a 16-year-old boy, right? He's his behavior has changed. His clothing and demeanor has changed. He's lounging about with imbeciles. Very Giles sentence. But and I felt like, oh, that gets to the heart of like, you know, the non-sci-fi fantasy bit of this. But I also pulled it because, oh my God, the way I screamed when Buffy said, I cannot believe that you, she's saying this to Giles, of all people are trying to Scully me. I was like,
Worlds collide.
Worlds collide. Oh my God. Incredible. But Giles thinks it's nothing until, uh-oh, in comes Willow.
With news of Herbert's untimely demise.
Buffy's like, testosterone, huh? Giles, because she told Giles that he should get your books and look stuff up. And Giles's last line in the scene is to tell them that he's going to go get my books and look stuff up. Flutie comes and gets the teens. Xander, thank God, is not sitting at the table with them in this moment. And he brings them to his office. One of the girls just says, crunchy about Herbert.
No.
Oh, God.
First of all, I just feel like a raw pig wouldn't be crunchy.
Probably just, you know what?
The bones.
We'll just leave that shit for you, for your brains and your minds. Okay. All right. In the library, it's fucking hyena o'clock. They've pulled every book on hyenas from the shelves.
We've got a lot of books in this library.
Did Noah really reject
like
hyenas from the Ark? Is that true? There are no hyenas on the Ark? I didn't look
Well,
it
if
up.
there weren't, then how'd they
get here? Yeah. Willow has this adorable line where she's like, why couldn't Xander be possessed by a puppy or some ducks? This is just like,
ducks.
you know, Allison Hannigan, like these actors are giving us lines in ways that only they can.
Huge news. In something that I just found on the internet called Hyena Myths and Realities, written in 1981.
Ooh.
Hyenas were widely regarded as hybrids. Sir Walter Raleigh excluded them from Noah's Ark in 1614 since he believed that God had only saved the purely bred.
Oh, God. Oh, back out. Hear that noise of like the bus backing up? That's me. Get us out of here.
Beep, beep. Hyenas were reconstituted after the flood through the unnatural union of a dog and a cat.
Oh.
In fact, the 3 living species of hyena form a family of their own within the order of Carnivora. They are most closely related to viverids.
Yes, this I did read.
Weasels and their allies.
Oh, shit. I just laughed so hard I hurt myself. Weasels and their allies is like definitely the title of my next book.
Okay, and perhaps just for us, as a final phony blot on their escutcheon, and in the unkindest cut of all, many ancient writers charge that hyenas were hermaphrodites bearing both male and female organs. The medieval bestiary is always trying to draw a moral lesson from the depravity of beasts, focused on the supposed sexual ambivalence. A 12th century document translated by T.H. White declared, "Since they are neither male nor female, they are neither faithful nor pagan, but are obviously the people concerning whom Solomon said, 'A man of double mind is inconstant in all his ways,' about whom also the Lord said, 'Thou canst not serve God and Mammon.'"
Fucking hyenas said trans rights. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck this shit. Let's go.
I did.
Wow. Okay. So, you know what? And probably, if we had even more time, this would have been a fun deep dive into the hyena. But I'm sure there's a lot there.
Are you a hyenologist in our listenership? Please let us know. Write to us at hello@bufferingcast.com or call us at 1-800-reconstituted after the flood.
So Giles says there's a sect of animal worshippers known as primals. They believe that humanity, consciousness, the soul, is a perversion, a dilution of spirit. To them, the animal state is holy. They are able through transpossession to draw the spirit of certain animals into themselves.
Something vampires, something soul, something demon inside the vessel.
Yep. Then they see an etching that is not one of the etchings Xander brought home with him. It is simply limbs torn from various naked men.
I feel robbed. Show us the other engravings.
Yeah, right? I don't want to go to this scene, but we have to. We're
in Herbert's room. Instead of just opening the door of the cage, they've bent the bars in so many curlicues.
They ate so tidily. Like, that is one point I want to give to the pack. Like, they walked out and they looked so cool. They had no pig blood on them at all. And they left no blood anywhere in the classroom. Simply bones.
They probably, I'm so sorry to say this, licked all of it up and off of each other.
But, like, cleanliness is next to godliness, Jenny.
Is next to hyeliness.
So Xander's in this fucking room and
oh no.
Yeah, this sucks.
Delete.
This is so we get a back and forth. The 4 original mean kids are in Flutie's office. And that's going to go really poorly. And Xander and Buffy are in Herbert's room. And that's going to go really poorly in a completely different way. Flutie is really trying to hold his own. Is it drugs? How could you? A poor defenseless pig. And In the Herbert room, we're getting wretched sexual assault lines. We know what you really want. You like danger. It's shit that I don't even feel needs to be repeated here. It is really, really uncomfortable to watch. And the points I will give to the episode is that later when Buffy goes into the library, she straight up is like, yeah, Xander was like on the sexual assault felony beat, basically. Like it is called out. And, you know, I'm sure that, I mean, I know that we've talked about sexual assaults inside the context of Buffy in many ways, shapes, and forms. But what I was thinking about is, you know, often we think about Buffy and what she carries on her shoulders just as somebody who, A, has to pull the double lift of being a student and a teenager, but also being a slayer and fighting demons and what have you. I think the emotional weight of that and the physical weight of that. But the truth is that there are many ways in which she, as a woman, is put in really sexually compromised scenarios, often by her work, all the time. And even in this episode, this is episode 6, she is not only put in a position where she is, you know, where she's in danger of sexual assault. But then later she actually uses that as a way to bait Xander and the rest of the pack. Like she's not only in the danger, but already using that as one of her tools and one of her weapons. So there's just so much that this girl has to fucking deal with and carry on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Xander slams her into a vending machine, and I was really relieved to see that it didn't say cold drinks, because I was like, I know that the cold drinks vending machine is alive and well and lasts this many seasons, so don't fuck that one up.
Okay, back in Flutie's office, he's getting clawed in the face, and he's getting crowded in on, and then Final Destination just does a little leap on him from the desktop, and it reminded me of, have you seen, there's this guy on the internet who teaches people how to move their bodies the way that gorillas, like how to like walk on basically like your knuckles.
Oh,
or,
no.
Like on all fours in the way that the same way that gorillas do. And this looked like that to me. Just to say Final Destination, very realistic.
Every time I learn more about your Instagram algorithm, I just really feel like I learn more about you, you know?
I feel like you learn a lot about Jess's Instagram algorithm.
True.
She's got Gorilla Walkie Man. She's got that mukbang.
Yeah, mukbang. That was the last thing. The zoom in on Flutie's photo, like his like headshot, his school headshot.
Yeah, I forgot about this. How he's got his own photo face out on his desk. He's like, welcome, and also from Tiny Me.
So 2016 me and 2024 me both had the same note about like how much hyena footage Willow is watching in the library.
And they're not even hyenas.
What are they?
Okay, Kristin, so the majority of the footage that Willow watches in this episode is actually of African wild dogs.
Oh.
Now, let me show you something. I'm gonna text you a picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what's the right order to do this in? Okay, I'm texting you a picture of an African wild dog.
Okay.
Let me know when you get it.
Okay, I got it. Oh.
Okay. Oh,
that's
right?
so cute. Look at those ears.
Now I'm gonna send you some hyenas.
Okay. Oh.
So I'm wondering if they didn't have hyena footage, or if they were just like hot privilege. We're putting the African wild dog footage in. Because you're so cute.
Oh,
They've got the big
God.
round ears, and yeah.
But
they kind of look like if you were trying to think of a hyena and not remembering that they're like a little weirder looking.
They are. Their faces are just like,
oh, okay.
the African wild dog looks like it has like the shape of a dog's head.
Right. Whereas hyenas look like an unholy union of a dog.
Yeah. They look very unholy. Very, they look a little queerer than a dog, if you will.
Yeah. Speaking of queerness, I just want to also let you know that while I was digging up that info, I found out that Xander becomes the unofficial leader of the pack, although hyena packs are matriarchal.
Oh, fuck yeah, let's go.
The hyenas said, fuck the patriarchy.
Yeah.
And also, I also want to let you know that the establishing shot of Sunnydale High in this episode is actually from Teacher's Pet, with Willow visible on one of the benches wearing the same clothing as in that episode. This shot will also be used in Nightmares.
Wow. Okay, you said patriarchy, so we have to play the jingle because, we have that.
The patriarchy!
So here we are. Buffy hit Xander with a desk. She mentions the sexual assault, which I noted. She also says he is definitely not trying to woo anyone with a Yanni CD and a bottle of Chianti. Was this what she's learned from Joyce? Like, what is this sourced from?
Yeah, this is definitely not what teens were thinking about in 1997 as romantic.
I don't think I knew what a bottle of Chianti was in 1997. Okay, so here's something I love about this show. Giles comes in and he comes in to tell us that Flutie has been eaten. I think in 90% of other shows in this genre, with this age bracket, with this fill in the blank, this would not have been played as seriously as this is played and as seriously as this fucking is. The principal of the school was literally just eaten. And it's not...
Once again, class is not getting canceled.
Yeah, class is not getting canceled, but like they're like all real fucked up about it, as well they should be. And I like that it's taken seriously because it makes us take it seriously. And it makes you like believe more and invest more in the universe of these characters.
Yeah, I do like that. Giles was like, the pack was sent to the principal's office. And Willow's like, good, that'll show him. And Giles is just looking shook. And Willow's like, did it show him?
Yeah.
It didn't. Wild dogs got into his office somehow is the explanation that's going around. The Sunnydale propaganda machine.
Yeah, I'm sure that the wild
strong.
dogs will get blamed for the fucking bent library cage as well later on. Giles says that there's a book that might have the answers. And Jenny, the book is called Malleus Maleficarum. And I wish that every day I had a reason to say the title of this book. It's my favorite 2 words to say together as of this day.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's a real book. Malleus Maleficarum is a real book. It was written by German Catholic clergyman Heinrich Kramer in 1486.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it was one of the first. You look it up on your own because I'm just going to do a real sloppy little summary here. But this is one of the first books that like was touted as like prosecution of witches, like naming and saying, witches and demons and what have you. And there was a lot of really interesting stuff about this book because this guy was like writing like for the church, but the church was like, no, thank you. Actually, we don't actually approve this. Anyway, if you're interested in old books on demonology and how they intersected with Christianity and Roman Catholicism, I don't know. And tell us if you know more about Malleus Maleficarum.
Okay, we see a lady with a baby on her back. She's out for a nighttime stroll. Sure, why not?
Super common for parents of new babies.
Yeah. And she happens upon the sleeping pack who wake up and drool a bunch before she flees.
Thank God she doesn't get eaten, nor does the baby.
And then, back in the library, Xander comes to. And he and Willow have this exchange.
Willow, I know there's something wrong with me, and I think it's getting worse. But I can't just stand around waiting for Buffy to decide it's time to punch me out again. Look, I want you to help me. I want you.
I am helping you.
You're doing what you're told.
Buffy's trying to help you, too. You know that. Or Xander does.
Yeah. Buffy's so selfless. Always thinking of us. Well, if I'm so dangerous, how come she left you alone with me?
I told her to.
Why?
Because I know you better than she does. And I wanted to be here to see if you were still you.
You know I am. Look at me. Look.
Xander. Now I know.
Go fucking Willow. Let's go, Willow. Hell yeah. Teaching us that even with a crush on a boy, she still can hold her fucking own. Let's go.
Proud of her. I don't know if I would have kept the keys sort of hanging out of my skirt
dangling.
pocket.
Yeah. Also, like, Xander shouldn't even need the key. Like, he should, if he has the strength of the other hyenas, he probably could just bend the cage open, but maybe he needs his pack for that.
Right.
By the way, in the scene with Malleus Maleficarum, we learned that you should be able to transfer the hyena spirit into another human, which doesn't really seem like the greatest plan, but they're going to go to the zoo. And so that is where they are. They're now at the zoo. The zookeeper and Giles would love to have a dinner date and have some wine together and talk about all of their mythology. And he's like, way too quickly, the zookeeper is like, we can do a transpossession. Like, if you walk in and your zookeeper is instantly like, oh, yeah, I got that transpossession shit on lock. Let me just draw some circles on the ground. Maybe ask a few more questions, guys.
Just get out of there.
They also learn that common behavior for hyena packs is that if they lose one of their members, they will go find their missing member. This is queer culture, okay? Everything I hear about hyenas, this is queer culture. So the pack is going back to find Xander, but Willow's there alone.
No. Paul Rudd's outside the window calling her name, and then they all come in boots first.
How the fuck did they get up to the top of those windows?
I was wondering the same thing. I was like, is the library actually underground somehow?
It's like 1/4 in the Hellmouth, actually.
Yeah. And then they just peel the book cage door off its hinges.
Yeah.
For the rest of the series, this book cage will be impenetrable. But for today, it's made of licorice.
Hyenas, canonically stronger than werewolves.
Uh-huh.
So Willow runs, they chase, she hides under the desk in a classroom. I have this note of like, I wonder if, since we know Torrance is a real high school and they're filming a lot of these scenes in the real high school, I just wondered if some of these classroom scenes, like she's hiding under a desk and it's like, there's pens and highlighters and whatever. And I'm like, did they just leave the teachers' desks kind of set up? Like, if there's not really any need to redress the set, why redress the set? But I don't know.
We should ask Chris.
Oh my God, we should ask Chris.
But my guess would be that they have to like, I don't know, that they would have to bring in all that stuff. But we should ask Chris.
Yeah. Chris, for those of you who don't know, is the gentleman who runs the event planning at Torrance High School. And he also was there when Buffy was filmed. So he's a font of knowledge. We'll ask him. And we'll get back to you sometime in 2025. Oh, it is 2025. Great. Sometime this year.
I love seeing Willow throw a desk in front of Xander as he's chasing her, and he just goes like flipping over it.
Me
Amazing.
too. This tiny girl, she can fight. And here's another tiny girl who can fight. A fire extinguisher, classic knocking out device. She fucking knocks one of the girls. Giles catches Willow. It's very sweet. He's like helping her get to safety, and the three of them shut themselves in the classroom. The hyenas go hunting for other food. They're like, are there any couples out there fighting about flirting with other people's wives? Let's go eat them instead.
Buffy intervenes as they are swarming this family's car, and she's all like, you know what you want.
Yeah, this is the moment I was like, damn, this girl is carrying a lot of fucking shit on her shoulders.
Yeah.
Was she wearing a full purple suit before this scene? Because I tried to remember to look, and I just didn't notice this purple suit until she was standing atop the car. But it's a real outfit here.
You know, I don't know.
And they chase her to the zoo. Giles and Willow get there first. Giles standing in the middle of the circle calling for the zookeeper by saying, "Doctor? Zookeeper?" It really got me. And then this fuck all comes out with like full ceremonial garb and like his face painted. We cannot wait for this man to get thrown.
Allegedly ceremonial garb.
Yeah, allegedly. Exactly. Giles clocks that the circle had to already be here for this to happen in the first place. And the minute that he clocks this, he's immediately dragging the zookeeper. He's like, oh, it must have really fucking sucked. The stupid little kids did your ritual and you couldn't even do it. which of course gets Giles knocked out again for, I believe, the third time. I was like, did he get knocked out 3 episodes in a row in this stretch?
Oh my God.
So
This
many
man needs
knockouts.
a helmet so bad.
He does.
Willow finally enters the hyena house and is like, "Where's Giles?" And the zookeeper says, "He's lying in wait."
And like binds her wrists, and she's like, sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this seems normal.
For the bit, right?
She screams out to Buffy as soon as she clocks what's happening. Buffy, it's a trap.
But not before the zookeeper has done what he needs to do.
Yeah.
To be able to zoop the hyena spirits out of the pack and into himself. So does he now have the spirits of
all
multiple
5
hyenas?
Yeah.
Or no, it was just the one hyena put its spirit into each of them with its glowing eyes.
So
and now they're just all
back together again.
It's like in Power Rangers how there's a Megazord.
Yeah. Yes.
So maybe it's just like they each had 1/5 of the hyena's spirit, and now this guy has 100% of the hyena's spirit.
Okay. Yeah. Great. I like that math. That's good. Xander saves Willow.
Oh wait, sorry. The second that he becomes hyena-fied, the zookeeper tries to eat Willow's face. I just want to, what is this, Yellow Jackets? I just wanted to
Can't go a
highlight
week
that.
without cannibalism here at Buffering a Rewatch Adventure.
No.
Buffy throws him into the pit. You know what? We're not supposed to kill people on this show, but this was a hyena-possessed asshole. But honestly, probably a hyena-possessed racist, patriarchal asshole. So get him in the fucking pit. Mari will be up next. But first it's hyena guy.
You got to be on good behavior, otherwise you're going in the pit. That's just the rule here at Buffering a Rewatch Adventure.
Giles stumbling out in his like fucking ascot, being like, "Did I miss anything?"
Yeah, askew,
buddy. All right, back at Sunnydale High.
What is Buffy wearing? Question.
Oh, I don't know, but there's a lady on her shirt and she's got a black beanie, and you know what? It's fine. We're trying
a
things
pink
out.
silk skirt.
Yeah.
Or satin, maybe.
Xander, hard quote, learns that he ate a pig, but he clearly remembers, and then he's like, "I didn't do anything else bad, did I?"
And they're like, "No, you're fine.
You're fine." And this, LaToya had a note in her document too about this, that this like moment between Giles and Xander is actually really nice, where Giles sort of like privately comes up to Xander and is like, "Hey, everything I read about this doesn't say anything about memory loss." And then he says, "Your secret dies with me." And we see Giles like watch Xander shuffle off feeling like wretchedly awful and embarrassed and what have you. And it's nice. It's like, you know, Giles is mostly going to just like fucking be so over Xander for most of the series from my memory. But like LaToya says, this is one of the rare moments of Giles treating Xander as anything other than a nuisance. He really should have tried to be more of a father figure to Xander. Maybe it would have fixed some things. Perhaps it would have. And not that that's Giles' like responsibility, but it just was nice to see. And it would have been cool to see a little more of that as the series went on.
Yeah.
And then don't forget, episode is ending and we just must get the pan flute in. So...
Boo.
Oh, God.
I was going to highlight that track and delete it really quick.
Control F pan flute from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and then Control delete. Control Alt delete.
The pan flute was one of the oldest and most popular instruments in ancient Greece. European pan flutes come from the Greek instrument. However, an analogous instrument that I cannot pronounce, that is spelled P-A-I-X-I-A-O, was created in China.
Oh.
In South America, pan flutes were popular during the Inca Empire and likely much earlier. Wow.
All right.
Pan flutes?
Hey.
A global instrument?
And you know what? We love a pan flute. The pan flute is not the issue. The usage, the deployment of the pan flute is the issue. The pan flute has never done anything wrong of its own accord.
But now that I'm reading that pan flutes sort of have been sprouting up around the globe for centuries, I'm like, I could see how it became the sort of catch-all instrument.
Like
I'm not agreeing with it, but I see how we got there.
Right.
Yeah.
The non-Western
They're like,
instrument.
this is, we're not in the United States anymore,
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
Instrument.
All right, Jenny, shall we take a look in a book called Dawn Meister Chronicles? Or
Let's see what's going on. What's she up to?
Was she at the mall? Was she at ballet? Was she drawn on a trapper keeper all day? Was she nursing a crush on a boy from PE? Was she writing it all down in her diary? What was Dawn doing? What was Dawn doing? What was Dawn doing? What was Dawn doing?
Okay, Jenny. Karmic Sands writes that Dawn was complain journaling about Buffy refusing to take her to the zoo and daydream journaling about how dreamy Xander is as he's, quote, matured. Dawn thinks Xander is finding excuses to hang out with her with this hungry look in his eyes, and she's very into the idea and doubly mad that her sister is making efforts to separate them.
Oh my God.
All right, let's get our Kristin with an I, not me entry
What do we
for
got?
the pack. At the beginning of the episode, we see Buffy wearing Angel's leather jacket at the Bronze. Before the Bronze, however, she hunts around her room for her brown leather jacket. Dawn hears Buffy rooting around her room and becomes nervous. Dawn is reminded of the time in LA when Buffy came home with a bunch of weird books about vampires, including one big old one titled Vampire and another titled Slayer Handbook, which captured her interest. Dawn recalls sneaking the handbook out of Buffy's room, accidentally spilling watercolor paints on it, and quickly throwing it out before anyone could ever know. The next morning, Buffy and Dawn are downstairs eating breakfast and discussing Buffy's upcoming school trip to the zoo. Dawn finds it weird that Buffy's high school class is going to the zoo, as did Kristin and Jenny on October 18th, 2016. And she's jealous. She casually asks if Xander is going to the zoo, and Dawn finds herself even more jealous at Buffy's answer. Jealousy leads to daydreaming about how mysterious and cool it is that he goes by Xander instead of Alex. She concludes he must be a deep and creative soul, just like her. Dawn goes to school in braided pigtails and a fuzzy, multicolored sweater inspired by Buffy's cool friend Willow, but some of her classmates don't respond kindly. Popular girl Kirsty makes fun of her outfit in front of the whole class, which makes Dawn flee the classroom in tears. When Dawn is crying in the bathroom, another student in her class, Janice, rushes through the door to comfort her and assures her that Kirsty is mean and probably just jealous. Janice and Dawn are fast friends.
Yay.
When Dawn comes home that night, she slips into her sister's room and tells her about the mean girl, Kirsty, at school. Buffy and Dawn bond over school bullies and spend the rest of the evening laying on Buffy's bed, reading magazines. Buffy with a Cosmopolitan and Dawn with a Tiger Beat. The end. Thank you, Kristin with an I. Okay, Jenny, I saved a little space in what was Dawn doing for what was Thurl Ravenscroft doing because
Yes. Thurl.
Because people were really excited to talk about Thurl Ravenscroft. And so I have just a couple of emails and I also sent you a link that I'm going to put in the show notes for this episode because it made me laugh for 500,000 years. It's this Tumblr post that people who knew the answer when you asked it, a lot of them knew because of this Tumblr post that's from I don't even know, 1,000 years ago. But basically posits that You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch is actually a song that Tony the Tiger composed for the Grinch when they broke up because they were a couple. And there's a drawing of Tony the Tiger's little orange paws holding a picture of the Grinch and tearing it up.
Oh my God.
It's what the internet was made for. And so if you haven't seen it, I will share it with you. So 2 other quick things on Thurl Ravenscroft for Jenny. Lindsay writes in and says, I wanted to add a note to Jenny's discovery about Tony the Tiger. The same actor is also one of the singing busts on the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. So there's a YouTube video for you, Jenny, if you want to check that out.
I do.
And then Sheena wrote in and said, I just want to contribute to Jenny's rabbit hole on Thurl Ravenscroft. Did you know that he's most recently been portrayed by Hugh Grant in this year's groundbreaking comedy about the making of the Pop-Tart Unfrosted. Not only do we have Hugh Grant dressed in full Tony the Tiger regalia, but we also get a glimpse into his digression into a semi-feral state when faced with the anti-mascot sentiments that came with the advent of the Pop-Tart. So...
What?
Just so you know, Thurl Ravenscroft all the way down, Jenny. It's
What? Oh my God, that film features music by Christoph Beck. Just incredible.
Everything is connected. Anyway, so that's what Dawn was doing, and it's also what Thurl Ravenscroft was doing.
I feel so blessed.
All right. Now, what was Jenny Owen Young's doing, or what is she going to be doing, perhaps, is a better ask.
What is Jenny doing? I'll tell you. Kristin, oh my gosh, there's so much going on. When I'm not making podcasts with you, I'm doing music stuff. And here's the latest, greatest hits of what's happening in my musical world. I released a deluxe version of my album Avalanche in November. You can find that on your favorite streaming platform. I'm preparing to release a vinyl edition of my museum visit inspired serial song project exhibit. It's only ever been available digitally on Bandcamp. It's never had a physical release, and I'm pressing vinyl. That is in the pre-order stage right now on beautiful Coke bottle clear-ish vinyl.
Nice.
With an accompanying shirt by friend of the pod, Devin Power. Beautiful artwork by Devin. And what else? I'm playing some shows around. I'm playing some headlining shows in New England in February. And in the end of February into early March, I'm playing a West Coast run of dates, co-headlining with my friend Jenny O, who is a totally different person, not me at all. We are playing together, and I'm so excited. You can find out about all of that and everything else that I get up to at jennyowenyoungs.com or by following me on socials at Jenny Owen Youngs.
My name is Kristin Russo, and you should follow me on socials at Kristin Noeline. That's KristinNoeline, because it's possible that I may release a bootleg version of Jenny's exhibit T-shirt that I mocked up. It's the T-shirt that you've seen already. It's a manatee, I believe. It's a beautiful manatee. It says exhibit over the top. It says Jenny Owen Youngs at the bottom, but my bootleg version says idea by Kristin Russo just directly under Jenny Owen Youngs. I think it'll be a collector's item in just a few.
It was Kristin's idea. Kristin had the idea. Everybody enjoy Kristin's idea, executed by me.
In addition to having great ideas, I also do work with and for LGBTQ plus communities. You can learn about that work on my website, which is KristinNoeline.com. Mostly what I'm going to be doing over the next couple of months is having a baby, so I won't be doing any tours. I'm going to be barely making any podcasts. Jenny says sleep when the baby sleeps, eat when the baby eats, and edit the podcast when the baby edits the podcast. So that's my plan. And who are we, Jenny?
We're buffering The Vampire Slayer and also buffering A Rewatch Adventure. We're on socials at BufferingCast. And particularly of note is our new initiative in which our listener Addie is creating music videos for each and every one of our Buffering the Vampire Slayer songs as we go. So, check our TikTok and or our Instagram. In the next day or two, we'll be posting the pack.
Yeah, if TikTok is still around, who knows?
If TikTok is still around, it could go at any time. And do email us to let us know how TikTok is doing at hello@bufferingcast.com.
You can support our work. Please refer back to Kristin on maternity leave if you'd like to support our work in a time when one of us at least can't do quite as much of it. You can do that at patreon.com/bufferingcast. We've got a lot of fun things happening over there. Jenny, I believe, is going to be doing a few very specifically chosen movie watches with you in the new year that are going to be paired with an airing of a very special podcast. So you can learn about that on Patreon. And as always, you get ad-free episodes at the $10 tier. You get discounts on merch. There's a whole bunch of reasons why it's a great time.
Speaking of great times, this episode was produced by Kristin Russo. her best friend Jenny Owen Youngs.
Oh my God.
And their hero, LaToya Ferguson. With support from the great and powerful Mackenzie McDade. It was edited by Kristin Russo while the baby edited the baby's podcast. Until next time.
Woo! Hey, Buffy. Heard there was a big mess in Sunnydale last week. Word has it there were zoo creatures and teenagers all mixed up. Do you know about it?
Well, I was hanging at the zoo on a field trip, which didn't seem particularly age appropriate. These kids were being rude and I don't know why. Sometimes I wish that it was cool to slay my own kind. Oh no, oh no. Well, I watched them head to the hyena hideout, even though it's quarantine. But the zookeeper, he really cramped our style and wouldn't let us in to see.
Hideout, you say? And bullies on the loose. Buffy, that sounds horrible. What happened next?
Razorbacks have got a brand new mascot pig, but he'll be lucky if he makes it to 9th period. Xander's being mean to Willow, and that's not like him. And have I mentioned that Cordelia seems to be absent? Oh no, oh no. Bid a fond farewell to Principal Flutie, victim of the savage please. Then we quick transferred the hyena spirit straight into the O2 key. It went in head over heels. Hyena finally gets away from the pack, the pack, the pack, the pack, the pack, the pack, the pack.
Wow, Buffy. Sounds like that zookeeper was a real zoo creeper. I guess, like they say, it's the circle of life. By the way, I simply love that neckerchief.
Oh boy, I sure was having a real Shangri-La's moment when we made this episode.
Do you think it was inspired by Buffy's fucking outfit? Like, is that what got us to Shangri-La's?
No, I mean, why was that? Like, why was the Shangri-La's the sort of prompt, the musical prompt? Probably it had a lot to do with the neckerchief, but also just the sort of like, there's the leader of the pack, which is like the Shangri-La's biggest
what
hit.
did it.
And I think that really sparked it and made us say like, what if we did a sort of like girl group kind of like with intermittent spoken word kind of thing.
And I was like, finally something I can do. I can contribute with spoken word. She might not be able to sing, but at least not until season 6 when we do a whole musical.
Well, it's really, you did a great job. And an integral part of the Shangri-La's vibe is women not passing the Bechdel test. They are talking to each other about boys, and that's okay. It is okay to talk to other women about boys. You just have to be well-rounded.
Yes.
You have to do other stuff sometimes too.
Yes. You know what's interesting, Jenny, is that so in this episode, Willow says to Xander, shut up. And I was like, that must be where we got the lyric for the pack. But that lyric isn't actually in here. That's in Never Kill a Boy on the First Date. So we actually predicted.
And that's just organic. We just want Xander to shut up.
Yeah. Willow doesn't have to say it
in
for
that
it to become
episode.
a lyric.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, I guess you messed with style a little bit with Never Kill a Boy, but this is really like, this is probably the first time
this is where things are starting to go. We're like looking at the rails and thinking, what if we went off of them?
Yeah,
eventually,
because there will be so many other moments in song future where the first thing that we would do would be to say like, what can this sound like? And I would imagine, not to put words into your mouth, but I would imagine that like, you know, you're writing music I guess you're writing music for other folks as well, but like when you're writing music for yourself, you're like, I'm writing my music, and your music has a particular sound and a particular way that it's produced and all of that. And so I have to imagine it's very fun to get to just be like, I'm going to make this like Shangri-La's song. I'm going to make this like surfer rock song. I'm going to, you know.
Yeah. This is so fun, especially because I was listening to the Shangri-La's a ton at this time. And they're like their vibe is like so not something I would do for me ever, but something that I really, really love. Not ironically, I just like love it so much. And it was like really fun to find a thing for the podcast where I could sort of like approximate something that, you know, that I love so much. We got the finger snaps, we got the boom, boom kind of electric guitar thing. We've got Kristin entering the Buffyverse canonically, someone who knows Buffy, which will continue in the season 2 episode Halloween.
Halloween really seals it. Like
urges you
this
to
one
hit that clock.
Creatively, this one felt like we weren't cheating fully because like it's my voice, but my name isn't said. And I feel like the Shangri-La's vibe is like just this sort of like disembodied voice who's like, hey girl.
Yeah.
So like
heard you going with Bobby. Tell me about it.
Exactly. Like it felt like, you know, maybe it was not totally breaking the wall between us and Buffy. Mm-hmm. Halloween, we just flat out smashed the wall, slammed the wall down since Buffy quite literally says my name. But this one could squeak by, I think.
I was just scanning the lyrics, and I had been looking at the wiki earlier, and the wiki notes that even though Cordelia is a series regular, she's not in this episode.
Oh, right.
And we note in the lyrics, have I mentioned that Cordelia seems to be absent?
Yeah, actually, the last song that, and maybe we talked about this, I can't remember, but the last song, I think it's Never Kill a Boy, is that we say like we haven't seen your mom or Joyce or my mom since back in episode 3, which is also like a bit of a breaking of a wall.
Yeah, yes.
But that's also what was so fun about the making of these songs is like not that there were no stakes, but it's not like you're making this like fully produced mixed album of songs and, you know, putting it out on the shelves. It's a different reason to like write music, and like the primary reason is to have a blast. And you know, there's very low pressure on the outcome, though, you know, Jenny and I are really good at taking something that should have no pressure on it and making it the most pressurized activity that we've ever done. But.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I think it's true of all of the songs in this series. We made them, you know, for the love of the game and for fun and to expand on something that we love so much, which is this story. And to have a blast doing it. Mission accomplished.
Oh, yeah. Mission accomplished, and we'll never do it again.
Legends. Long have legends inspired people the world over. For in legends, we see the worlds of the impossible unfold before us.
Heroic quests, horrific monsters, gods, magic, tales of the valiant and the villainous. But more than that, in legend, we see ourselves reflected in the stories we tell.
I'm William Stark.
And I'm Omar Timsaw.
And we are D&D Legends and Lore. Join us as we explore the fantastic lore of the world's most popular tabletop RPG. Suddenly, a beam of radiant light pierces the haze. Then, a powerful angel streaks down from above. She is pure beauty, fury, and zeal.
Arashni, your sentence has been spoken by the Sildarine. For what you have done, you are declared demon. Be what you are, and go where you must. You can find D&D Legends and Lore on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts can be found.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Just keep it simple.
I'm making the promo.
Just keep it simple. Just say, hey, we're the Brav Bros. Two guys that talk about Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're the Brav Bros.
No.
Oh.
Dude, stop with the voice. Just keep it simple.
I've seen promos on TV, dude. This is how you get the fans engaged. This is how you get listeners. We're trying to get listeners here. If we just say, oh, we're two dudes that talk about Bravo, people are going to get tired of it already. We need some oomph.
All right, then fine. Let's try to do it with your voice.
Brav Bros.
Good job.